Good morning. I'm glad to have you join us on News Bites live broadcast of news. It's a robust compilation of news making rounds in Nigeria today. My name is Oluwa Mayomikun. It's always a very good pleasure for me. It's always a pleasure for me to bring you this news service. Thank you. Today is Saturday, the 14th of October 2017, and I say good morning to you anywhere you are on the planet. Permit me to share this on my timeline, and then we can do the news immediately after. All right, let me share this. I also implore that you help us build this community. You also can share the news headlines to your timeline so that your friends can avail themselves of this service. This is News Bite. It's the production of News Bite. It comes to you every morning except Sundays. This comes to you every morning except Sundays. All right, so you can join us, share this on your timeline. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Okay, let me share it on my timeline. Ooh. All right. Okay. All right, I just shared on my timeline. You also can do the same. You can share on your timeline. All right, so let's go with the news now. President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday assured stakeholders from the southeast that the region will benefit more from roads and coastal rail projects, which are of critical importance to the economy. During an audience with leaders from the region led by the Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu, the president declared that the second Niger Bridge, the East-West Road, and the coastal rail projects are receiving urgent attention from his administration. The president said counterpart funding from the Chinese government will substantially fund these projects, which, when completed, will improve the welfare, well-being, and economy of the people in the region. The president, let me quote him now, says, "I thank you for articulating your demands, and I want to assure that we're doing our best for the country. If we can stop people from stealing, then there will be more resources to put into projects that will create employment for Nigerians." Well, off quote. Responding to allegations of underrepresentation of Igbos in his government, the president says, I'll quote him again, "I gave Southeast 4 substantive ministers in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Investment, Science and Technology, and then Labor. 7 states in the North got ministers of state, and of the 2 ministries headed by your sons, I cannot take any decision on foreign policy and investment without their input." That's the president, there responding. The president also promised the leaders comprising governors and ministers from the regions, the president of Ohanese, that's Chief Nya Nwondo, and representative from the National Assembly, that he will visit states in the zone very soon. Well, I also quote him again, "I want to assure you that I came into government with a clear conscience, and I will also leave with a clear conscience." Earlier, the president of Ohanese, while articulating the demands of the zone to the president, highlighted the issue of state creation, restructuring federal projects in the southeast, namely Enugu-Onitsha Road, Enugu-Port Harcourt Road, and Aba-Ikot-Ekpene Road, among others. Nwodo also demanded urgent presidential interventions on the Enugu Airport, reticulation of the gas pipelines in the southeast, and the standard gauge rail for railway construction. Commending the president's remarkable achievements on security and fight against corruption, Nwodo declared, and I quote him, "We are ready to work with you. We are determined to work with you. We know you are a decisive leader, and we know God will continue to give you the wisdom to govern Nigeria." Also speaking, Governor Dave Umahi of Ebonyi State expressed satisfaction on the outcome of their discussions with the president on critical issues and topics affecting the region. Against the backdrop of misinformation and distortion going on in a section of the media, the presidency has stressed that President Muhammadu Buhari did not tell World Bank President Jim Yong Kim to ignore other parts of Nigeria. Femi Adesina, the president's media advisor, notes that when what Buhari said was that Kim should give attention to the Northeast, which has been devastated by 8 years of Boko Haram war. Additionally, in a statement released on Friday, said President Buhari has done what is expected of a caring father by asking for help in rebuilding the Northeast. He pointed out that those who specialize in a deliberate twisting of information have wailed and raged endlessly on the news item credited to the World Bank Group President Jim Yong Kim, who disclosed in Washington, D.C., United States of America, that President Muhammadu Buhari had requested a concentration of the bank's intervention efforts in the northern part of Nigeria, particularly in the northeast. The aide said the ignorant and mischievous people who twist everything for their vile purposes are making it seem that it was a calculated attempt to give the north an unfair advantage over other parts of Nigeria. I quote him now. He says, "The truth of the matter is that President Buhari, right from his first week in office in June 2015, had reached out to the G7 in Germany that Nigeria needed help to build the Northeast, which had been terribly devastated by insurgency. He said the country would prefer help in terms of rebuilding of infrastructure rather than cash donation, which may end up being misappropriated." I continue with the quote. I'm still quoting additional. "In concert with governors of the region, a comprehensive list of needed repairs was sent to the G7 leaders. Also, during a trip to Washington in 2015 and many other engagements that followed, President Buhari sought the help of the World Bank in rebuilding the beleaguered Northeast, which was then being wrested from the stranglehold of insurgency. It was something always done in the open and which reflected the president's concern for the region." Well, assuring that President Buhari has a pan-Nigerian mandate and he will discharge his duties and responsibilities in like manner, the spokesman reiterates that any part of the country that requires special attention will receive it, irrespective of primordial affinities, which narrow-minded people have not been able to live above, adding that the president will always work in the best interest of all parts of the country at all times. Well, Adesina concluded the statement by saying, "Let ethnic warriors sheath their swords." Meanwhile, the African Union Commission has donated $100,000 to the Presidential Committee on the Northeast Initiative to assist its rebuilding efforts in the Northeast. Al-Kazim Abdulkadir, head of media and communication for the Presidential Committee on the Northeast Initiative, made this known in a statement yesterday in Abuja. According to Al-Kazim, a visiting delegation of the AU Commission donated the money to the initiative during a visit to Dr. Habibat Lawal, the acting Secretary General of the Federation. The delegation was led by Ambassador Chimango Chatao, the permanent representative and ambassador of Malawi to the AU, and was accompanied by Ambassador Olabisi Dari, head of humanitarian affairs, refugees and displaced persons of the commission. He said that Chatao commended the intervention and coordination strategies of the initiative after an assessment tour of the Northeast, a follow-up to the similar tour it undertook last year. Senate Senior Special Assistant to the President on Foreign Affairs and Diaspora, Abike Dabiri-Erewa, has condemned the latest extrajudicial killing of another Nigerian, Ibrahim Badmus, allegedly by South African police, the third in a month. Dabiri-Erewa, in a statement on Friday in Abuja, said the latest incident is gradually eroding the confidence of Nigerians in South Africa. She expressed worry on the determination and ability of the South African authorities to put a stop to further and deliberate killings of Nigerians in South Africa. According to her, the Nigeria consulate in South Africa said the Independent Police Investigative Department in South Africa has begun investigation into the killing, which is the first time an independent unit will be conducting such an investigation. She called on the South African authorities to ensure that the investigation is thorough and justice is done in the interest of the cordial relationship between the two countries. The killing of Badmus, who was 25 years old, is coming barely 3 weeks after another Nigerian, Kingsley Ikeri, 27-year-old, was killed through extrajudicial means by the South African police. On the 5 injured Nigerians in the hospital, Dabiri Erewa said that a report from the consulate revealed that it is as a result of the altercation with the South African police following a video clip that went viral on the killing of Badmus. Dabiri Erewa then appealed to Nigerians in South Africa to remain calm and avoid any further face-off with the police and await the outcome of the independent investigation of the latest killing. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has said that it is yet to officially release the timetable and schedule of activities for the 2019 general elections. The commission made the clarification in its daily bulletin issued on Friday in Abuja. It says that the clarification became important following several inquiries from stakeholders on the issue, noting that only the actual dates for the general elections are so far released by the commission. The commission had in March announced that the 2019 presidential and National Assembly elections will hold on February 16th, while that of the governorship and state assembly will hold on March 2nd. It explained that the action is to standardize the electoral process, ensure certainty in the dates for elections, and to also allow for proper planning by stakeholders. INEC clarified that so far only the timetable and schedule of activities for the Ekiti and Osun governorship election and the Idemili North State constituency by-election have been released. That of the 2019 general elections will be unveiled in due course, according to INEC. INEC has also approved the conduct of a by-election in the Idemili North State constituency in Anambra alongside the governorship election in the state on November 18. The commission made the disclosure in a statement issued by the commission's Director of Publicity and Voter Education, Oluwa Mayomikun, on Friday in Abuja. INEC notes that holding the two elections simultaneously on the same day will help to maximize resource utilization and ensure timely representation of the constituency in the State House of Assembly. To this end, political parties wishing to field candidates for the poll are required to conclude their primaries latest by October 31. Political campaign for the by-election will close on November 16. That's like 2 days to the election. Osaze Uzi said that according to the commission's rule, where two elections are to be conducted simultaneously, additional ballot boxes will be provided in the affected constituency to accommodate ballots for the additional election. In the case of Idemili North, voters in the constituency would experience two elections, hence two ballot boxes. One of the ballot boxes will be for governorship election, while the other will be for the state assembly election. The result of the two elections will then be declared at respective constituency levels. A federal high court in Lagos on Friday issued an order directing Access Bank Limited and Guarantee Trust Limited to surrender 1.4 billion naira Paris and London club loans in their custody. Justice Mojisola Olatoregun ordered the courts to temporarily forfeit the loans. Olatoregun made the order while granting an ex parte application filed and argued before her court by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) through its lawyer Ekene Iheanacho. Listed as respondents in the suit are Meros General Services Limited, WASP Networks Limited, and the Thebe Wellness Services. The court also ordered the EFCC to notify whoever is interested in the said money to appear before it and show cause why same should not be finally forfeited. The judge directed the EFCC to publish the temporary forfeiture order in a national newspaper for the respondents or anyone who is interested in the money to appear before the court and show cause within 14 days, while final forfeiture order will not be made. Edo State government has approved the downward review of the 2017 budget from the initial 153.187 billion naira to 127.921 billion naira, representing a 16.49% reduction. This was contained in a statement issued after an emergency executive meeting by the Commissioner for Communication and Orientation, Paul Uhobamu, in Benin. The statement said the review was caused by the suboptimal performance of the nation's macroeconomic environment. I quote it. The statement reads, the Commissioner for Budget and Planning presented a memo requesting the approval for the reduction of the draft 2017 budget estimate on account of the suboptimal performance of the nation's macroeconomic environment. All right. Enugu State Ministry of Education has appealed to parents to send their wards back to school, assuring them that no unapproved activities are carried out in any school. Commissioner for Education, Professor Uche Eze, gave the assurance in a signed statement issued in Enugu yesterday. Recall that on Wednesday, virtually all schools in the southeast abruptly suspended academic activities over an unconfirmed rumor of vaccination being administered on pupils in primary schools by soldiers. It was alleged that some military personnel were forcing people to engage in a free medical vaccination and were being injected with the monkeypox virus. Parents quickly withdrew their children and wards from schools as early as 10 a.m. on that fateful day, and while some schools which gates were locked with padlock were forcefully opened, some of them had their gates damaged due to the stampede to get the children out from the schools. But Professor Eze says his ministry's investigation revealed that the monkeypox news have been found out to be untrue and unfounded. He is therefore appealing to parents to do the needful by sending their wards and children back to school. The commissioner also gave assurance that the ministry has taken appropriate proactive steps to ensure that schools are safe and no unauthorized and unapproved activities are carried out in any school in the state. Since Wednesday, after the unfounded monkeypox rumor incident, school attendance has dropped slightly in most southeast states. Resident doctors at the University College Hospital UCH Ibadan have given the hospital management another 10-day strike notice to protest unpaid salaries barely 1 month after the nationwide strike. Dr. Segun Olaokwa, the president of the UCH branch of the National Association of Resident Doctors, disclosed this development at a news briefing. Olaokwa said that the association's dialogue with the hospital management on many occasions is yet to yield any positive result. He said it has become imperative to draw attention to the brewing issues in UCH, which, if not addressed, may impact negatively on the existing industrial harmony at the hospital. These issues, according to the doctors, include non-payment of September salary, 28% shortfall in August salary, 2016 shortfalls of 11 months till date, and work overload due to management's refusal to employ new residents. You may recall that the association went on a 10-day national industrial strike, which was suspended on September 14. Part of the outcome of the dialogue, which led to the suspension of the strike, was that government will release money to pay the doctors' backlog of salaries. Meanwhile, Nigeria Medical Association (NMA) has called on the federal government to clarify its move to ban medical doctors in public service from private practice. Dr. Oluwa Mayomikun, chairman of Lagos State Chapter of NMA in Lagos on Friday, while reacting to a federal government's announcement to begin the process of banning doctors in public service from engaging in private practice, called on government to throw more light on its plan. You may recall that the federal government on Wednesday announced plans to stop medical doctors working in public hospitals from engaging in private practice. The decision was taken at Wednesday's Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. The Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, had told newsmen after the meeting that the laws of the land do not allow any public officer to engage in anything apart from farming. Adewale also announced that a committee will make appropriate recommendations to the government on the matter. However, Omojowolo argued that though the law did not permit doctors in public hospitals to own private hospitals, they could, however, offer specialized services to private hospitals when required. The chairman said that it is practice all over the world that specialists can be invited to either a public or private health institution to help sort out medical issues. He said there is need for government to define what it is saying so that it will be understood by everybody, adding that this will go a long way to remove ambiguities and misinterpretations that the proposal has so far generated. Nigeria Postal Service (NIPOST) will soon introduce agency banking service in addition to the reintroduction of money order to its clients. Godswill Magulike, the district manager of NIPOST in Kwara State, stated this in Ilorin yesterday that the introduction of agency banking will enable Nigerians send money abroad beside its courier services. He said that the agency has introduced a series of products aimed at reviving the postal system and increasing patronage. According to him, some of the products include reintroduction of money order, electronic stamps, address verification system, and agency banking, among others. A federal high court sitting in Kenji, Niger State, has sentenced 45 Boko Haram members to between 3 and 31 years in jail and also freed 468 suspects. The jailed men were among the 575 Boko Haram suspects arraigned under the first phase of the mass trial of the suspects. Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed said the Kenji court also struck out 34 cases, while 28 suspects were remanded for trial in Abuja and Mina. The court ordered that the 468 discharged persons undergo de-radicalization and rehabilitation programs before they are handed over to their respective state governments. The trial commenced with the formal remand by the court of 1,669 suspects for a period of 90 days, with the court ordering that they may be arraigned within the specified period or released unconditionally. The court adjourned the trial of other suspects to January 2018. Meanwhile, United Nations has welcomed the trial of more than 2,000 Boko Haram suspects, but worried over lack of transparency in the process. The Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights on Friday expressed its support for the trial, which is said is overdue, many of the suspects having been in prolonged pre-trial detention, including some since 2009. The agency, however, expressed concern over the number of people who are due to be tried over the coming weeks, saying there are no fewer than 2,300 people. The concerns are that the conduct of the trials may deny the defendants the right to a fair trial and an effective defense. UN notes that the accused, who have all been charged under Nigeria's Prevention of Terrorism Act, are being tried individually or in groups depending on the nature of their alleged crimes. The trials, which are being conducted by 4 judges, began on Monday at a civilian court set up by a military base and detention center at Kenji in Niger State and held between closed doors with the media and public excluded. The UN Rights Agency said while it is essential that Boko Haram insurgents are prosecuted and, if found guilty, held to account for killings and abuses they may have perpetrated, and that victims are able to receive justice, the lack of transparency regarding the trials, which Nigeria's National Human Rights Commission is not allowed to attend and monitor proceedings, is worrying. The UN consequently urged the authorities to allow the Commission to conduct such monitoring, and to that end welcomed the fact that the Solicitor General has indicated that he will facilitate such monitoring. The body also called on government to ensure the right of all defendants to legal representation and that the trials adhere to international human rights norms and standards. Worried by incessant attacks on communities on Basa local government, Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State has imposed a dusk to dawn curfew on the area. A statement by Emmanuel Nanley, the Director of Press Affairs, said that the decision became necessary in view of recurring incidences of attack in the area. It disclosed that there are recurring incidences of attacks on Irigwe Chiefdom and neighboring areas around Basa. There are also attacks on communities on the borders of the local government, especially around Vo in Jos South and Manchok in Kaduna State. Of course, the statement reads that to guarantee effective security operation towards protecting life and property, the governor has approved the imposition of a dusk to dawn curfew, which takes effect immediately. The curfew will run from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. daily. Sources say the governor's decision followed reports of the burning of houses by unknown men that invaded some villages in Irigwe Chiefdom on Friday. Tenet Telpav, the spokesperson of the Plateau Police Command, who confirmed the burning of the houses, however, declined further details. Note that the Friday attack on Basa local government is the third in 3 weeks after 2 other violent invasions claimed 28 lives in Nta and Jebu-Miango semi-urban settlements. Nigerian Army on Friday said the increase in crimes in coastal areas of the country compelled it to step up training and operations in the amphibious environment. Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tuko Buratai said this at Takwa Bay Island in Lagos State when he launched exercise Crocodile Smile 2. According to him, the Order of Battle 2016 provides for amphibious battalion in the island to keep the coastal area of Lagos State safe. He said a detachment of Nigerian Army has since been stationed on the island. More Army presence will also be felt soon on the island and other parts of the country in line with the 2016 Order of Battle as funds become available. The Army chief recalled that the first phase of the exercise, which took place between August and September 2016 in Abia, Bayelsa, Cross River, Delta, Imo, and Rivers States, recorded tremendous success. He said it degraded activities of militants and illegal oil bunkering, destruction of kidnappers' den, and rescue of kidnapped victims, destruction of cultist camps, amongst others. Buratai, however, said the success of exercise Crocodile Smile 1 in those states pushed some criminal elements to other parts of the country, thus necessitating readjustment of area of operation of the second phase in 2017. He added that in this regard, that the exercise is being conducted in the South and Southwest regions. The Army chiefs also said that exercise Crocodile Smile 2 is being done with sister agencies to sharpen troops combat skills on land and amphibious environment and consolidate on gains achieved in the first phase. Okay, that's much we can take, but I believe we've been able to go, all over the nation to feed you with news making rounds. It's a package for this Saturday. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure. Remember, it's always a pleasure to have you join us on News Bites. Let's do this again on Monday. Tomorrow we'll take a little break, but on Monday we'll resume. But watch this timeline as we bring you news on the go. My name is Oluwa Mayomikun. Enjoy your weekend and do everything in moderation. Bye for now.